A nostalgic mystery that came to us in a very modern way.
So I get this message from Lydia on TikTok.
Her name is actually Linda, from all the way in Parachute.
I have a box full of family photos I found.
She's camera shy, but sent us this box.
Here's the letter. I was driving into downtown Denver on Lincoln Avenue in the early 80s when I spotted a bag with photographs spilling out of it. I stopped, looked to see if anyone was around, perhaps moving, but the street was empty. So I gathered up the bag and photos. I looked in the paper for weeks, and then life happened. 1899. Wow.
Linda says these photos have stayed with her for more than 40 years now. And when she found them recently, she was determined, this time,
1867,
to find the owner.
Yeah, this is totally in Denver.
So she sent him to Steve on Your Side.
Mrs. Mabel Hellman.
We figured we'd found the perfect clue. The person in these photos the most, a woman from Nebraska named Mabel Swanson, who married a guy named William Hellman.
That's who I think we're dealing with, is Mr. and Mrs. something Hellman in Hayden, Colorado.
They seem to be involved in the lumber business in northwest Colorado, but they didn't have any kids as far as we could tell. William died in 1943, and his wife Mabel, 30 years later, in Loveland. But
Christmas.
There were other photos.
Walton and me last Christmas. Oh, it's like a cool Christmas party. Man, these are all photos of like back when people used to like party.
And luckily, I have a producer who can find anyone.
This your family?
Oh my gosh.
Mike Whitmore is little in this photo. He says is actually from Thanksgiving in California.
Yeah, that's Grandpa Dowdy. He was a dentist in Los Angeles for his entire life.
Leave it to a consumer reporter from a town he's never visited to just call him out of the blue.
I thought someone was scamming me.
Mike has no clue who Mabel Hellman was or why she had his family photo. He does have a great sense of humor.
Whoever the Hellmans were, they must not have liked us very much if they just left it on the side of the road.
But there was another.
Deirdre Jacobson and her daughters, Terry Ann and Lee.
Oh my gosh, you have a picture of me and I don't even know you.
Lee Fleck couldn't believe my call either.
I look like I was like 18 months old. She's holding me up. And I got my little walking shoes and my little white dress.
Neither Lee nor her sister have connections to Colorado, and neither of them knew Mabel Hellman. But they're grateful to the person who decided that their family memory shouldn't sit on the side of the road.
Here we go. We've got some of our history in a stranger's hand. I think it's cool. I do too. I love it.
So maybe this is where you come in. Did you know the Hellmans? We're going to send Lee and Mike their photos, but we want to connect these photos with the people who are closest to the family, somebody who knows Mabel Hellman's story, right? We're following a few more leads, but it was time to put this story on the air to see if anyone out there can help. Steve on Your Side at 9news.com is how you get in touch with us to try to connect these photos with the person that they belong to. I've got some of them here. The historic photos, they seem to have had some tie to Northwest Colorado and the lumber industry there. This says this one says Moffat County Lumber on it right there. And there's a whole bunch of them some from Steamboat, some from Craig, just Routt County photos, but then there are pictures of Mabel in downtown Denver. We know that she died in Loveland. Mm-hmm. So we know that she was here at some point, but there's Mabel right there. We're looking for anybody who knows Mabel's story, anybody who knows Mabel.
I got a question for you. There was a time where I was on this email listserv that Steve gets. You get thousands of emails. What stuck out to you about this project? Because this is a little different than what you're normally doing.
This was weird. Yeah, this isn't the consumer financial thing, but this was more of a, can you solve a mystery for me? And this was a TikTok message. She said, hey, I have this box. Do you think? And at first I thought like, nah. And then I thought, why'd you have this box for so long? But then when she explained it, there was no way to connect with people back then, right? There was no internet, there was no Craigslist, there was no Facebook to say, hey, I found these photos on the ground, do they belong to anyone?
I was at this wild thrifting store over on Broadway like a week ago, and they actually have drawers filled with pictures that look just like that, where you can go in and just buy someone else's pictures. Who knows?
And maybe. I'm sure, and it could be. I mean, I don't know.
Estate
did they
sales?
do that back in the?
What's the alternative? We throw them away? That feels wrong.
Yeah, we're not going to do that. No. We'll at least connect these photos with Mike and Lee, but I want to see if there's anybody out there, because neither of them really knew the connection between the Hellman connection here. Mm-hmm. So you imagine this may have been the time when you'd send somebody a Christmas card and maybe you'd send them a photo of your family, and they were like, oh, here's somebody she knows, here's my family, and because the names are all that's how we were able to find some of the people. is that some of the names are on the back of these photos, but the people that we've called that are in the photos are like Hellman who?
So this story and some of the pictures will obviously be on our website, so
Yeah,
people
we're going
can
to put
go
it
and
up
take
there.
a look at them.
We're going to make social. I'm going to put it on TikTok since that's where Linda
you-
got in touch with me. Was on TikTok.
There you
You know
go.
what I think is going to help you solve this? The folks that do the genealogy that get really into it,
Yeah.
who've been looking for some of these missing links to families.
Oh,
That's probably who's going to.
100.
So if that's you,
Yeah.
give Steve a call.
We think we may have found an old obituary for one of them that might have an estate connection that we were trying to connect with, but then that person's gone now too. Because I mean, you got to think about it. Mabel Hellman died 50 years ago, and so now we're 50 years behind trying to figure out who might be related to the family.
But
Anybody can do it. It's Steve.
yeah, everybody appreciates you putting on your detective cap.
I'm
because-
loving this
Yeah, I know you are.
I just want
and
to
you'll figure it out.
We'll get it.
Absolutely.
And we'll mail them to you if you reach out to us.
All right, Steve, thanks.